Do you think there's more pressure on you or more pressure on Levan at this point?
Well, what I've learned, you know, life is about growth, you know, like, and us on here, arm wrestling is one of our tools for growth. You know, like we grow, we learn about ourselves through this process of tempering ourselves to perform in our sport. And what I have discovered is that in terms of pressure, Levan is actually a pussy. He actually is. That's what's a little bit sad for me, is I said he was, not really meaning it, but I've actually discovered that he really actually is. The dude, that it actually makes me a little bit sick. It really does. That a man can be so big and so strong and such a wussy. Like, how do you, and I see so much stuff. I see so much stuff about people saying things like they're facts. Do you know who knows the facts? Me, Levan, his translator, the promoters. That's it. Anytime you ever hear something else, it's very likely bullshit. That dude is the kid, the spoiled kid who took his ball back and he was run away. It's like he didn't get the right piece of cake and he's crying to his mom. And the worst thing is his fans are like, oh, you're right, Levan. You should have this piece of cake. You know, no. That dude is a crybaby and he's a sissy. Yes, he's a hell of an arm wrestler. Hell of an arm wrestler. But yeah, I'm pissed at him. I am.
Do you think that some of that is, I mean, people have been saying, oh, you know, and obviously the guys who would support you are on your coattails, they're riding this thing all the way in, and there's been a shift. There's been a real wind of confidence that started to get behind you, and you're building momentum in that respect. Do you feel like the fact that your popularity and notoriety online would be potentially problematic for someone who's not used to that? Because the guys that follow you, the people that are backing you, your fans, they are passionate. These are people that are really going to push on, and they'll be dropping into people's channels, dropping onto their bloody messages and giving them abuse, giving them stick. So a guy that's not used to that, if Devon's not used to that and he doesn't deal with it well, and some people don't, do you think that's what made him feel, you know what, I'm not engaging in this, I'm keeping away?
Well, whatever it was, he did it before any of that stuff started. He actually freaked out and got angry before any of it started. Okay, he freaked out. There's all this stuff about, oh, they were calling me to discuss the rules because the rules weren't set. That's not true. What exactly happened was King of the Table 3, the rules changed the day before the fucking event. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I can't believe that this happened. As an athlete, I would have freaked out. But I was kind of involved because of armbat. Right, we had to cancel all the stakes, as I'm sure you guys probably remember, because of the rule change. I'm like, you can't have bets, you can't have stakes that change. You know, when the rules are changed, it influences people's decision making. So right away, I'm on the phone with the promoters, and I'm like, guys, I'm like, if the rules are going to change like this, we have to talk about it now, okay, for the stakers and for myself as an athlete. I've signed a contract. Levan signed a contract, and not only did we sign a contract, we went over the rules. Okay, this is not just the 2.2. We discussed rules. Everybody was in agreement. Okay, and if somebody says that it's not the truth, they're lying. Okay, and I can bring this up in front of any promoter who was involved, and you'll see what the truth is. Okay, so I'm like, we need to jump on a call right now with Levan to make sure that everyone understands that everything's cool, so that we can go ahead with, you know, so we don't have to deal with this stuff the day before
just
the event.
Removal of any ambiguity around.
Right. It was not to like go over like the rules after the contract was already signed. Anyways, it was at that point, it was on that phone call that he became angry. He hung up, he removed himself from the chat, and he told his translator that he didn't want to speak anymore, and the next time he saw me was going to be on the table and he ripped my arm off. That's the truth. And believe me, if you can't handle being called a pussy for doing that, then you are a pussy. That's what you are. I don't care if you're 415 pounds and you're big bad dude. You are a pussy. That's what you are. So, you know, here I am stuck, you know, like, I mean, what the fuck do I do with this guy?